Welcome to Cardinals Cover 2 with Craig Grialou and Mike Jurecki. Cardinals Cover 2 is brought to you by Arizona Cardinals Podcasts. Visit azcardinals.com/podcasts. From the Dignity Health Arizona Cardinals Training Center, here's Craig Grialou and Mike Jurecki.
Well, it's been a little while since we've had a Football Friday after a win the week before, and that is exactly what the Cardinals face here as they get ready to take on the Detroit Lions on Sunday. Cardinals looking to win 2 in a row for the first time since
last year, week 16 and 17, in order to finish 8-8.
Yeah, the Cardinals' last 2 games of 2017. But hey, there's been a good feeling not only around the locker room, around the facility, because of what that win in Green Bay did for this team. And yeah, I know there are people out there that talk about draft status, and you're hurting draft status, but bottom line, this team wants to win and close out these final 4 games, all winnable games if you think about it, depending on what the Rams need to do and what the Seahawks need to do those last 2 games of the regular season. But the team is feeling confident. They always feel confident, but a little bit more perhaps going into this game, a home game for the first time in 3 weeks.
Yeah, and we know that they haven't played particularly well at home, and obviously we've documented some of the losses, including in week 1. So this is an opportunity where I think they're confident based on what happened last week. And, you know, obviously at this point in the year, you're going to see a lot of different faces and names, and we'll get into some of the particulars. But, you know, a lot of guys are going to be under fire and under the microscope for, are you going to be on the roster next year? Is this a trial for the next 4 weeks? And wherever you go, we always talk about it. You know, they're going to look at the film and see, were you playing hard? That's one thing I give head coach Steve Wilkes a lot of credit. The effort's been there for the Arizona Cardinals, even though they've had some bad losses.
You mentioned the new faces. A word of advice for the fans that are heading to State Farm Stadium on Sunday: pick up the Kickoff magazine to get a roster, so you can familiarize yourself with the new faces on this Cardinals roster.
And you can also check out my Q&A with Chandler
look at
Jones.
You with the promotion. Very well done.
And then you write a story in there, too.
Okay. Yeah, nice. Nicely done there. Kickoff magazine available at State Farm Stadium coming up on Sunday. But that is 2 days from now. How about we tell you what's ahead on this Football Friday here on Cards Cover 2. We've got a complete breakdown on Sunday's matchup. You'll hear from Larry Fitzgerald and a bit more reflective, at least in my opinion. And we'll tell you the special honor for Antoine Bethea. And, of course, your questions via social media using the hashtag CardsCover2. Hashtag CardsCover2 with the number 2 to get involved in the show here on this Football Friday. But first, the news of the day, and only one player has been ruled out for Sunday. That is Dollar linebacker Dalen Buchanan. He will miss a 3rd straight game because of a chest injury. Probably not a surprise. He hasn't practiced all week long. The better news for the Cardinals, amongst those that are listed as questionable, good to see that safety Budda Baker, who was not on the practice field either Wednesday or Thursday, did take part on a limited basis on Friday. And according to head coach Steve Wilkes, very hopeful that Baker is on the field.
Yeah, they definitely need him. He's a difference maker, and he really has solidified, playing that slot cornerback position. He's a really good ball tackler. He can come blitz off the side. It's interesting because usually when you get to this point in the year, you have a long list. Now, you got to list everyone, and as we get from Wednesday to Thursday to Friday, you can find out who's going to play. It's because they got a bunch of guys on injured reserve. This is why we don't see that laundry list we normally see at this point in the year.
Yeah, Baker, the only one officially listed as questionable, or a game-time decision, if you will, on Sunday. Some other notes concerning Sunday's matchup: who will play, who will start, I should say, at right tackle. Joe Barksdale, who was signed on Wednesday, or Will Holden, who got the start last week and was signed the Thursday prior to the Green Bay matchup. That is something that Coach Wilkes says they'll make a decision on over the next couple of days. But either way, you're going to have, for the 7th straight week, a different starting offensive line combination.
All right, let's handicap this. So Will Holden, as we talked about, he was released from the practice squad, was on a Tuesday, got here on Wednesday, and he eventually started and played particularly well, even though they have some of their assignments and blocking schemes prior to the previous staff, so he was able to plug and play. But you're talking about a guy that's been an 8-year veteran. He asked for his release in San Diego. Maybe he didn't think he was part of the future.
Los Angeles,
sorry. I made that same mistake when I talked to him today. So Los Angeles Chargers. And the fact that he's got experience. So this, to me, is a good dilemma for the Cardinals. Go with Corey Cunningham at left tackle and Barksdale at right tackle, and then Will Holden will be your swing tackle throughout the game. So it gives a little versatility. I guess we'll wait for it to become official possibly on Sunday.
And see if either one or maybe even both of them are potential long-term solutions, or at least going into 2019 on the offensive line.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they're trying to bring in different bodies, and I know Steve Keim was on 98.7 this morning for his weekly 7:45 hit with Doug and Wolf, and he really talked about, this is more of a 4-week tryout, but he's a guy that can start in the National Football League. I mean, he's a big guy. I mean, it looks like he's in good shape. And, again, that's because he was on a roster and he wasn't on the street or on the couch.
Yeah, the experience, though, definitely a factor for him. The other question, punt return kind of got lost in the shuffle with the Christian Kirk injury. Kirk, obviously, not only a number 2 wide receiver and number 1 wide receiver, but return punts. Now the question is, who will the Cardinals go with? And Coach Wilkes, again, throwing out 2 names, TJ Logan, who does the kickoffs, and then JJ Nelson, who has done it before in the past. The bottom line, and Coach mentioned this, whomever is back there, make sure you secure the football.
Yeah, I actually talked to JJ once, Coach kind of mentioned, because on the depth chart, which is really in pencil, they had Logan as the backup. Now, I talked to JJ, and he said he's been taking reps with Christian Kirk the entire season on the practice field. Now, you still got to have that 10-yard rule. You got to possess the ball, and then you're standing at the 10-yard line with your cleats on the 10, you got to make sure, and I don't know why more guys don't hit that first guy coming down, because they can down the ball within your 5-yard line. So you got to be smart, but you have to possess the ball. You cannot afford a turnover. So we'll see how he fares, but he has been catching a lot of punts in practice throughout the season.
So something to look forward to on Sunday. Of course, the Cardinals looking to win back-to-back games, as MJ said, for the first time since late last season, week 16 and 17. More importantly, looking to build upon what was a very impressive victory last week in Green Bay.
The last time the Arizona Cardinals played a December game in Green Bay, Wisconsin, that was 1969.
Hey, here you go, baby. Hey, I done heard a lot about Lambeau. It's a blessing to be here, baby.
Sideways snow/rain. 34 degrees here in Green Bay. Feels like 22.
The blowing and drifting snow, it's going to be really rough right here.
Don't get no better than this, baby. Look at this. Look at this. Let's go. Let's go.
There's a lot at stake in this game that goes beyond this game. It's about the future.
For games like this and places like this is why you do this. I need everything you got. Everything you got. Hey, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. What is it?
Rodgers drops back to throw, fires left side end zone, caught by Adams, touchdown. Rosen 5-step drop, has time, looks left, throws now over the middle, caught inside the 25-yard line by Sherfield. What a great catch. Rosen barking out the call, hands it off, up the middle Edmonds. Now he's in for his first NFL touchdown. Great job up front. Shotgun snap, Rodgers, straight drop back, looking in trouble and sacked by Chandler Jones.
That was big time right there.
A good first half for the Cardinals. They came to play.
I'm trying to go harder than I ever will.
Rosen takes 7-step drop, looks deep, fires right side. Kirk is open, caught at the 30 and down to the 26-yard line. And the kick is good. Zane Gonzalez ties it at 10 with 5:18 to go in the third quarter. Play action pass for Rosen on first down, looking deep, gets hit, steps up and runs across the 40, 45 to the 50, still going at the 40, near side 35, he stumbles, fumbles the ball, but it goes out of bounds, takes the snap and gives it to Edmonds off the left side, trying to sprint to the corner, into the end zone for a second touchdown.
Corey, I see you. Let's go. Let's go.
They run left. Williams to the 2 and into the end zone for the touchdown. The Packers got up there, snapped it quickly, and the Cardinals weren't ready defensively. And now a point after away from tying the game. Maybe the Cardinals just run the ball here, Wolf. 3rd and 23. Maybe they just run it. Take some time off the clock. Shotgun snap. Nope. Rosen back to throw. Rosen looking. Throws deep. Near side. Diving attempt by Fitz. Did he catch it? He did!
He got it! He got it! The legend! The legend! Larry saved the day!
Zane Gonzalez, a 44-yard attempt. Snap, Andy Lee gets it down. The kick is up, and the kick is good!
Oh my goodness!
And Arizona leads late in Lambeau, 1:41 to go. It's 20-17. But Aaron Rodgers has one more shot with the football. They still have a timeout. They need to get at least 5 more yards, you would think, to give Crosby a shot. And now here comes the field goal team.
Here we go.
3 seconds left. 49-yard attempt. Snap. Ball is down. The kick from Crosby is up. And the kick is no good. He missed it. And the Cardinals win in Lambeau.
You know, listening to that in our Bose QC35s, you really get a sense of being inside of a movie theater, the sound effects. And for those that are listening to the podcast, I seriously encourage you to go to azcardinals.com. The piece up there and uploaded, Cinematography is what the Cardinals broadcasting department calls it. Dan Nettles on the editing, just a fantastic job detailing all the highlights and some lowlights as well from last week.
Well produced, and you know, when different guys get mic'd up, whether it's defensive player and offensive player, it's just the screaming that goes on as you're making the tackle.
Absolutely, and
are their eyes open?
And the hits too. The impact.
When Golden was hitting Aaron Rodgers, you can hear how he wanted to go in there, and now you don't want to land on him because you're going to throw a penalty at that point. But good technique when it came to hitting Aaron Rodgers.
Craig Riolu, Mike Jurecki here. It is a Football Friday on Cards Cover 2 as we come to you from the Dignity Health Arizona Cardinals Training Center. As we take a look at Sunday's matchup, Cardinals and Lions. Cardinals 3-9, the Lions 4-8, and really struggling. Both teams are, and both teams with a first-year head coach, Matt Patricia, in his first season, longtime New England Patriot, the last 6 years as their defensive coordinator. But the Lions have lost 2 in a row, 5 of their last 6. And before we talk about Patricia's side of the ball, which is really the defense, let's go offense first. And, of course, with the Lions, you begin with their quarterback, Matthew Stafford. This is his 10th season, and he's kind of limited on weapons, and they just suffered another setback as far as who will run the football. Before we give our breakdown, here's Cardinals defensive coordinator Al Holcomb on the Lions offense.
Well, he is a very good quarterback. He presents a lot of the same challenges that Aaron Rodgers does from a standpoint. His arm strength is elite. He can throw the ball 60, 70 yards down the field, on a dime. He's very mobile, so he can escape the pocket, and he has some speed when he does escape the pocket. I think maybe what you're seeing a little bit of is just like a lot of us in this league, there's an attrition in terms of some injuries and some of his key players going down, losing Golden Tate, at the trade deadline there. So I think that's part of it, and he's just trying to get his group of guys going at this point. So, the run game, just from playing this offense in the past, the run game is definitely improved. The run game is definitely improved and presents a challenge. They have some really, really dynamic running backs / receivers. And, but he's still getting rid of the ball very quickly. His accuracy is still on point, and I think it's just a matter of some different guys in different roles, and maybe that's where you're seeing a little bit of the hesitation there.
And Stafford plays very, very well on the road this season. 9 touchdowns, just 2 interceptions. But you heard Holcomb mention the attrition, the wide receivers. Golden Tate traded. Marvin Jones Jr. on IR. The running game is better, but Kerryon Johnson, their leading rusher, is going to miss a 3rd straight game. LeGarrette Blount, Theo Riddick are your now 2 running backs that the Cardinals will have to deal with. It is, look at their offense, and it doesn't matter who's in, who's out. If you have a quality quarterback, and I know there have been issues with the Lions, he just hasn't been able to get them over the hump, but Matthew Stafford's still an elite quarterback, at least to me, in the NFL.
He can make every single throw. I mean, there's a reason why he was drafted number 1 overall, and obviously he was up next, and he got that huge contract. And, right now they're trailing the Chicago Bears, and then you got the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, their future looks bright with Kirk Cousins, and then, you don't know about the Packers. Obviously, they're going to have some off-season additions and maybe get rid of some guys. But he is 18 over 11, and he does fumble the ball, but he has that sidearm throw. I mean, he's seen everything on defense. Kenny Golladay is going to be the number 1 wide receiver. The last time the Cardinals played him, Justin Bethel was on him. So if you put Patrick Peterson, it's going to be night and day. So I would put Peterson on Golladay and then just try to figure out what their other receivers are. Now, they do have Luke Wilson from the Seattle Seahawks. He's their tight end. And LeGarrette Blount, he's a big back. If he can get to that second layer, he's going to try to run you over. He's going to try to get to that second layer, so that should be an issue. And Theo Riddick is more of a guy that I would say they want to throw the ball to out of the backfield, maybe a 3rd down guy, because he's pretty good in open space. So, again, and they lost T.J. Lang on the offensive line, so they don't have their starters there. But, I go back to, and you and I have been talking about it for the last couple of days, they actually played the Rams tight. Now, it was a road game for the Rams, and maybe they were overlooking just because they had to wrap it up, the division. But the score with 8 minutes to go, and Gurley had just scored a 13-yard touchdown. It was 16-13 at that point. It was 23-13. Then they got another late score, and they end up winning the game 30-16. But the Rams were in that game, and I think you're starting to see the fingerprints of Matt Patricia in the front 7. Now, Darius Slay's a good corner. They got a guy in the secondary, Glover Quinn in the secondary, so he's more of a box safety. But they went out and got snacks. Damon Harrison, thank you, Jimmy. And he's really provided.
Yep.
And they made the trade for him right around when the Giants traded Eli Apple. So they were, obviously the Giants were looking to the future, but he's really come in there and he's really solidified that. And then Ziggy Ansah is going to play this week. So it'd be interesting to see if they're able to get pressure on the quarterback or stop the run.
You mentioned the game against the Rams. Stafford throwing an interception, a late interception, and that's the talk out of Detroit this week, is that fourth quarter magic is not there with Stafford this season. He's got 8 fourth quarter turnovers this season. So something perhaps the Cardinals, if it gets to that point in the fourth quarter, the Cardinals could certainly take advantage of. You brought up the defense. It is a defense that's allowing almost, or more than I should say, 26 points a game. They do have some injury concerns because both linebacker Devon Kennard and cornerback Darius Slay are listed as questionable. My guess is that both will play, especially Kennard coming back home. Played at Desert Vista High School, so you know he wants to be on the field. And then their leading tackler is Jared Davis, a second-year linebacker, former first-round draft pick. They do have some names and some production on that side of the ball.
Yeah, and Kennard, I want to say he had 6 sacks maybe in the first month of the season, not the first 6 weeks, and he's still stuck there. Obviously, he's been on the injury report the last few weeks, but I would agree with you. He's going to want to come here and show his upside.
It is a defense that kind of is able to adjust, much like the Patriots have done. You adjust to that week's opponent. Matt Patricia knows that system and brought it with him to Detroit, and that is something Cardinals head coach Steve Wilks talked about this week.
Well, I think Matt does a good job. Pasqualoni is there as well. They have a relationship in the past. Those guys, to me, adjust, based off who they're playing. Sometimes it's a 4-down look, 3-down look, over, under. Very creative in who they're playing. So we know right now he comes from a background of defense with being with Belichick, so those guys are going to be ready to play.
And, of course, attacking that Lions defense will fall on the shoulders of Josh Rosen. Sunday will be his 10th start as an NFL quarterback. And the questions with him this week has been his accuracy or lack thereof. He's only completing 54.2% of his passes. It's the second lowest completion percentage in the NFL. And he has not been that accurate all season, but there was something that Kyle Udegaard did on EasyCardinals.com, kind of did a deep dive, if you will, as far as what the analytical numbers show about what Rosen has had to deal with this season as why perhaps his completion percentage is so low, and he's pressured. And then the number of drops,
21 drops,
the receivers
in the NFL
have had, and that's something that you have to factor in, and it's hard to factor into that completion percentage because 54, that's unacceptable. But it's why is it that number, and no one really seems to be too concerned about it at this point because of some of the situations. You got a beat up offensive line, wide receiver room that is not done as well as expected outside of Larry Fitzgerald and Christian Kirk, and just the pressure that Rosen has been under, because a lot of times instead of taking a sack, or he'll feel the pressure and he just has to throw the ball away, and you're wondering, well, that's an incompletion. Well, it's also a smart decision as far as being able to live to fight another down, if you will.
Yeah, and the key here is for Rosen is to go through his progressions, because you could see he's looking. I think he has a tendency to look to his right, and I would too if Larry's there, and you got at the time a Christian Kirk running a crossing route over the middle of the field. So what he's missing is the back. The third and fourth option, usually it's on the backside, and we got a chance to see it a few games ago when he missed J.J. Nelson. Obviously, he was going to Christian Kirk. Well,
it's having the time to do it and then set his feet and make sure he's getting that ball out.
Yes, and Byron told us there's a lot of throwaway passes that he's doing, and you're exactly right. It's okay to punt in this league. Put your defense on the field with Andy Lee. You're going to try to win field position, but you just don't want to force the ball, and then you start turning it over. So it's a work in progress, but let's say you take the 21 drops they have, which is the 8th worst in the NFL. Let's say we cut that down to 10. That completion percentage now could go to 58 to almost 60%, and then his throwaways where he doesn't want to force it, they want him to live for the next down, maybe even goes up to 61. So I think that's still a work in progress, but he's got to feel more comfortable. I think he's seeing the rush. You got to feel the rush.
You mentioned Byron Leftwich. Let's hear from the Cardinals offensive coordinator about his quarterback.
He's a rookie, and it's more about, you guys see that. I see the balls that we throw away. This kid is doing a good job, but you'd be amazed at how many balls we count as just throwaways where he's doing the right thing because of whatever situation, right, wrong, or indifferent. So, I know the numbers, I see them, but I also know what we're asking him and what I'm, play in and play out in the situations he's in as a whole. He's been in some tough situations where he just had to really just get rid of the ball, and that's what we're trying to clean up. If we can just not get as many throwaways, I wish he was completing 70% of his passes. Who are we kidding, right? But he's a rookie. He's going to learn. He'll eventually be there. He's coming there. He's getting there. But it's just having a full understanding of why that number is that number.
Some of that's a function of being flushed from the pocket and the play breaking down and having a...
Everything. It's some of him missing. It's some of him being flushed. It's some of him getting us out of bad situations. Instead of us being in 2nd and 17, he threw it away to make sure we're in 2nd and 10. So there's some smart decisions happening there. We just got to try to clean it up and get it better. But those numbers will get better as we go.
Have you gotten better throwing it away in the last 9 games?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Now, Jake Plummer, and I'm a big Jake Plummer fan now, he was able to scramble and, he would throw an interception or two in the first quarter and then have a great fourth quarter comeback. Jake Plummer, 57% career when he was with the Arizona Cardinals. Now, he went to Denver, got to the AFC Championship game, so his numbers got up a little bit more just because he had maybe a different offense. But Jake Plummer's 57%, and you would say he made a lot of plays with his legs, and you're starting to see Rosen. One thing I really like when we start showing these highlights is he's stepping up in the pocket. He didn't have that earlier in the season. And that means now he can shuffle to his left and right. And being a right-handed quarterback, you want to cut the field in half, and some of these guys will start making their routes towards the sideline. So I like the fact that he's able to move a little bit where, Carson Palmer obviously can throw the deep ball. Drew Stanton, he would sail some balls. But here you almost have a dual quarterback. Now, you don't want him to run all the time, and he's got to learn how to slide. But I like the fact that he's starting to see the field a little bit more than maybe he did at least 5 weeks ago.
Well, and that's feeling the pressure, which you had mentioned as far as knowing where it's coming
right here,
and
perfect.
being able to just step up or roll to one side. to his right or to his left to buy a little bit more time in the event that that pocket does collapse. And it is tough for offensive linemen to sit there and hold their blocks for 4 or 5 seconds. Sometimes you need the ball, get the ball out quicker, but on those deeper routes, you need the receivers to have the time to get downfield.
And he throws a really good deep ball. Love the passes that he's thrown to Christian Kirk, Ricky Seals-Jones, where only one guy is going to catch it. So, again, it's a work in progress, but I'm glad Leftwich talked about those throwaways, because when we're watching the game, you're like, okay, was there 2 receivers in the same spot? Who was he actually targeting? But you learn more when you listen to Byron Leftwich. Prime example is we don't want to be in 2nd and 17. We want to be in 2nd and 10. So it's okay to throw the ball away, but I'm glad he brought that up, because I think that has an effect on his completion percentage.
It is Week 14 coming up on Sunday at State Farm Stadium. Kickoff 2:25. Cardinals and Lions pregame coverage begins at 9:30 a.m. on the Arizona Cardinals Radio Network. And if you want to know where to watch, listen, and follow the game, just go to azcardinals.com/Game Central. That's azcardinals.com/Game Central. Also a great place to go on game day as well. Live blog with play-by-play updates, scoring summary, and box score, and of course video highlights as well. That is azcardinals.com/Game Central. As we broadcast here on this Football Friday from the Dignity Health Arizona Cardinals Training Center in our Bose QC35s. It is also a Fitz Friday, #Fitz Friday. Number 11 meets with the media every Thursday, and then on Friday we kind of give you the best of his Q&A, and he talks up the win last week in Green Bay. He talks up Josh Rosen, and he started, though, with what everyone around Arizona has been talking about all week, and that is the Paul Goldschmidt trade to St. Louis. The Diamondbacks' face of the franchise is gone. Fitz, obviously, the face of the franchise with the Cardinals. And Fitz asked about that moniker that he has with the Cardinals.
No, I never really looked at it like that. I mean, this is where I started. I've always been one, I kind of appreciate being a part of the foundation or something. You know, when I got in the league, there was not a lot of respect for the Cardinals. And I remember growing up, in Minnesota and seeing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They were kind of always like the armpit of the division, and nobody respected them. And they were called the Yucks and stuff like that. But then, they got Warren Sapp, and they got Derek Brooks, and got John Lynch and Mike Allstott and Warwick Dunn. And I mean, they started Keyshawn Johnson, started adding pieces, and they won, and they changed the plight of their organization. They're not looked at in the same light after what they were able to accomplish. And I remember when I was drafted here, and Darnell and Carlos and Antonio Smith, we were like, man, we want to change the narrative here, and that's always kind of been the mindset I've had. Just want to, why not do it where you started?
If you finish your career without a ring, will you feel like you left anything on the field, so to speak?
No, this is not tennis. This is not golf. This is not an individual sport. This is a team sport. It takes everybody collectively to be able to win. I'm not a quarterback. I don't touch the ball every single snap. So it's not like I play a position where I could influence it on that level. Obviously I'm a big part of what a team can do, but it's I think my position's viewed a little bit differently when you're assessing it. It's purely off of championships.
Are you impressed by the result of the offense you looked around? There's so many rookies and so much youth around you. What did you think of that performance?
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody stepped up. I mean, we got guys who weren't on the team, a week ago that's out there starting and playing, and we're not making excuses. We're paid professionals, and we're paid to do a job, and we're going to go out there and compete like that. And whoever's lined up, doesn't matter where they're from, what the numbers are, whoever that 11 is that's on the field, we're going to give it our best, and that's what we're always going to expect.
Josh is making his 10th start. Where do you think he's made the most progress? What have you seen?
I think he's just a lot more comfortable, with what's going on, what's asked of him, what's expected of him, protections, and getting us in the right plays at the line of scrimmage on our check with me's and things like that. So I don't think there's any indecisiveness. He's getting better every single week. I think you saw that last week, and he's scrambling around and looking like a running back out there.
Sort of.
Yeah.
Except for the end.
Now, we've been around Fitz for a long time, and not that I know anything, and I don't, but it just seems to me, MJ, and I told you this before the start of the show, just listening to him on Thursday and in the past couple of weeks, he just seems to be more comfortable talking about himself in the aspect of reflection on his career and on his stay here with the Cardinals. He doesn't like talking about himself, and you'll never hear him talk about numbers or personal stats. He wants wins and losses and a Super Bowl. But there's a calmness around him when people ask about leaving the game without a championship, or having that face of the franchise tag that everyone knows he has, but he doesn't kind of like talking about. And who knows what happens these last 4 games if there is a 2019 with him, and I'm sure everyone hopes
You're
there is.
depressing me right now.
It just, I don't know. He just seems he just seems different than what we've heard from him in past seasons.
My observation would be he's being asked these questions.
True. Yes, he is.
So, Goldschmidt getting traded, and the fact that you want to wear one jersey your entire career, because he's had plenty of times to either ask for a trade or they were approached on a trade, and he's turned every single time down. I just think, when you get to number 2 and one more catch, he actually passes Jerry Rice for wearing one uniform throughout his entire career, where Rice obviously played for other teams. So I think the questions are coming just because we don't know about 2019. And I can't speak for Larry, but I just assume it's going to be the same case for the last few years. Now, he's not under contract, but if he wants to play, they would welcome him back with open arms.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, he's been the guy. I mean, he's going to be a future Hall of Famer, first ballot. So I think he'll take some time off after the season. It's a grind. It's a long season, and he's 35 years old, and his body doesn't heal like it did when he was younger. So I think he'll take some time off, and he'll make the decision. And listen, that's why, there's only 2 home games left. And they're playing the Lions this week, and in a couple of weeks they're going to play the Rams, and then that's it. So you better make sure you go out there and support number 11, and including the whole team, because they want to win these final 4 games just to go on in the offseason. I don't know if there's any carryover, but you could tell that, hey, if we would have taken care of business early in the season where you lose 3 games by 7 points, maybe things could have been different. And I was listening to the Big Red Rage last night, with Trey Boston and Antoine Bethea, and they were having a conversation with Paul and Wolf, and they were talking about a game here and a game there. They could be 6-6.
Yep. Brought up the Seattle game, Bears game, and the Raiders game.
Yeah, and it's not like we're pulling this stuff out of left field. I mean, those were winnable games, and some of those games took place at home.
By the way, did Paul and Wolf get a word in edgewise, especially with Trey Boston as the special guest last night?
He's entertaining, though. He's got a lot of energy.
Both him and Bethea are great leaders and great community guys, and more on that in a moment, but just fun to listen to.
I haven't talked to anybody in the organization. Bethea, I mean, obviously anytime you bring in a new general manager and head coach, they move on. He's playing really well. He leads his team in tackles. Now people will say, well, you don't want your secondary, but he plays so much in the box. He's been a leader in the locker room. He's a captain. I haven't even asked him. I was going to try to ask him, I'm sure you want to play. You're playing at a high level. He wants to play a couple more years. I would think he's a guy that you would like to retain just from a leadership standpoint. And also, he's playing at a high level. Now, Budda Baker's second on the team in tackles, and maybe it's because he plays a little bit closer to the line of scrimmage every single down.
Yeah, speaking of Antoine Bethea, he is the Arizona Cardinals nominee for the Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year. And Bethea has a book coming out as well, the Bet on Yourself Inside the Mind of the Ultimate Underdog. It's available everywhere December 10th. But more importantly, Bethea has put community first, even in just his short time here in Arizona. And congratulations to him as the Walter Payton Man of the Year award winner for the Arizona Cardinals.
What's up, man?
Take care. I think the biggest thing for me is just giving back to anybody who needs that helping hand. My mom, being a breast cancer survivor, anything dealing with breast cancer is a big deal to me. As far as giving back to the inner city youth, just helping them continue their education after high school. That's also a big deal for me. So just anything I can just give back and put a smile on anybody's face.
and the NFL Man of the Year award will be announced the night before the Super Bowl. And real quick, for more information on Antoine Bethea's book that comes out, or you can pre-order December 10th. It's available everywhere on December 10th, but go to AntoineBethea.com, as certainly would be someone that you would want, to your point, MJ, about bringing back next year or for a couple of years, because he is one, he's healthy. He ended last year on injured reserve, which was fortunate, but for the most part in his career, he has been very durable and very productive.
Yeah, and when they introduced him yesterday to announce it, President Michael Bidwell, he spoke very highly of him and how much he's done just the little time he's been here, and really he was part of the process when they met with the governor for social justice. He was in the room, and he said that Josh Rosen came through the locker room and said, next time you guys get invited, I want to go. So there's so many things happening that don't get reported like they should, and just the fact that he that's the second time he's won the award.
Yes, did it in 2013 with the Colts.
And Larry kind of kidded him today. Well, Peyton Manning must have won it before. Larry, he's always jabbing, man.
Yeah, just a dig here or there. Just
say congratulations.
He can't do that though.
I know.
He can't say. He does, but then it's just like there's a backhanded compliment.
In fairness to those guys, that's the locker room, and it's kind of their sanctuary. It's not their home because they have a house, but a lot of things go on there.
Or in the case of Fitz, several houses.
True. But I just like the fact that they're getting more publicity and awareness out there, because it's something that's really happening. It happened in his hometown, and he was in Indy, and then he was in San Francisco. So I would think, based on how he's playing, he could be a guy that they try to retain. I don't have any information, but I like the way he's playing. And when we go in the locker room, there's Corey Peters is always, he's not going to search you out. Patrick Peterson and Larry have their days, on Thursdays, and David Johnson and the quarterbacks and the coordinators. But Antoine Bethea is available anytime you ask him.
He's always at his locker, and he just at that. You got a minute? Absolutely. Unless he's going to get treatment or whatever. But every day,
listen,
if someone had something, even if it was real quick.
We talk about Corey Peters and not enough. Underappreciated. I would put Bethea in there too. He's one of the leaders in the locker room.
Absolutely.
I mean, he's a leader along with Patrick Peterson, but he's got more years, and so younger guys look up to him.
Yeah, that's why he wears a C on his chest. And as you heard in that video piece, fighting breast cancer is very, very important to Bethea. This Sunday, several players will wear customized cleats reflecting their commitment to charitable causes. It's the league's third annual My Cause, My Cleats.
My cause is global climate change. This cause is important to me because I grew up near the ocean. Mom was always a stickler about recycling, and kind of ingrained in us at a very young age that we have to care about our environment and leave places better than we found them. It's got a place close to my heart. This is my cause, and these are my cleats.
My cause is Children's Cancer Network. I do a lot of work at the Children's Hospital, and so I see a lot of kids, that are diagnosed, and get to spend a lot of time with them. And I love on the cleat, you have the kids reaching for the stars. Their stars, in my eyes, just the way that they're able to fight through the tough times, that they're going through. This is my cause, and these are my cleats.
My cause is the Johnson family's Mission 31. This cause is important to me because my wife and I started this foundation, the Johnson family's Mission 31, to help out seriously ill children and their families. And we wanted to, as soon as we could, have the opportunity to help out children and make a positive impact in their lives in many different ways. This is my cause, and these are my cleats.
My cause is the Pat Tillman Foundation. My cleats are me just trying to honor people that I really care about and had a positive impact. My mother, Carol, my grandfather, Dr. Robert Johnson, Senator McCain, and Pat Tillman. We wouldn't be able to do what we do if it wasn't for Pat Tillman and so many other brave men and women around the world. This is my cause, and these are my cleats.
My cause is the American Cancer Society. This cause is important to me because my grandmother had breast cancer. She's actually a breast cancer survivor. This is something that really, touches my heart and hits home for me. The biggest thing that I like about the cleats is how it says real men wear pink. I think that's really good. The details are crazy. This is my cause, and these are my cleats.
My cause is brain cancer, and I chose to represent the American Cancer Society. My grandma was diagnosed with brain cancer, glioblastoma mesiforma, while I was in high school. This brain cancer is very close to me and my family. By shining a light on my cause, I hope to draw awareness and funding to find a cure. This is my cause, these are my cleats.
My cause is the Chad Tuff Foundation. This cause is important to me because it was something close to the Michigan team when I played at Michigan. Chad Carr passed away of pediatric brain cancer. To watch a young kid go through something like that and see how tough he was, that was the whole idea of Chad Tuff. There's a logo on it of Chad flexing. This is my cause, and these are my cleats.
So those that are listening to the podcast here on Cards Cover 2, maybe they can't recognize the name or the voices of the players. In order, it was Josh Rosen, Christian Kirk, David Johnson, Larry Fitzgerald, Hassan Reddick, Dennis Gardeck, and Mason Cole. And you go to azcardinals.com to see more players' cleats and more what is happening on Sunday as the Cardinals host the Detroit Lions, 2:25 from State Farm Stadium. That means pregame coverage begins at 9:30 in the morning on the Arizona Cardinals radio network. And whether you're at the game connected to stadium Wi-Fi on your phone or watching the game at home from your couch, be sure to check out azcardinals.com/Game Central. Follow the official game blog with live play-by-play updates and commentary from your favorite Cardinals insiders. Also stats, video highlights, and all the pregame, postgame content related to this week's matchup against the Lions. That's azcardinals.com/Game Central. Cardinals and Lions not in the same division, MJ, but they seem to meet every single year. Of course, last year it was week 1 in which David Johnson suffered that wrist injury, but Sunday marks the 6th time in the last 7 years that these two teams will meet. And before we let the Bird Gang sound off about the matchup and about this season, how about we open up the Big Red Vault and flash back to one of those meetings in 2012.
Stafford in an empty set takes the shotgun snap on 4th down. Quick throw to the left side, picked off in the end zone. Intercepted by Toller. Running near side of the 10, the 20, the 30. Stafford the only man to beat at the 50. Stafford knocked to the ground. Toller takes it all the way. One end to the other. Greg Toller, touchdown.
102 yards as the Cardinals beat the Lions 38-10. They picked off Matthew Stafford 3 times that afternoon at, now State Farm Stadium. And as Brandon Natus, the Cardinals manager of social media, joins us here on Cards Cover 2. And Greg Toller, a name from the past, MJ, but you kind of forget about him. But, he played very well while he was here.
Yeah, and he got paid. He went to Indianapolis, and it just seems like whether it's Bethel or Brandon Williams, just all the different corners opposite of Patrick Peterson.
Yeah, it's been a revolving door as we get ready for
now,
Sunday.
Toller obviously was here a long time ago, but in general, they've been trying to find that guy.
Yeah,
Actually,
look at
Bethel,
the
last time they played the Lions, he had an interception return for a touchdown.
Very good.
And he also gave up 2 touchdowns to Kenny Galladay.
Wow.
Details.
Talk about
Feel
Debbie
good Friday.
Downer.
No, I'm saying I'm happy if Patrick Peterson takes him because then obviously Stafford won't have as many options when it comes to the passing game.
All right, Brandon. Bird Gang sound off. # Cards Cover 2 as we try to get MJ out of the hole that he's digging himself in.
I'm just giving you facts.
All right, so we have 3 questions from the fans, and the last one we'll do kind of like a toss-up in regards to My Cause, My Cleats. So Twitter, first question, our friend Cardinals31, we greatly appreciate you. Do you see the Lions being a harder opponent than the Packers?
You wouldn't think so on paper, but I think I understand where he's coming from, that now because you're coming back home, there's the expectation now that if you can win in Green Bay, you better be able to do it at home against the Lions. But, from a matchup standpoint, I don't think so. But from what I just said, there's perhaps that maybe feeling pretty good about yourself and not overconfident, but potential of maybe stubbing your toe.
It seemed like there was, obviously snow flurries, but there was a cloud over the Packers, considering all the speculation about the head coach, and maybe the pressure was off, and they thought they were just going to roll out there and beat the Cardinals. Because you got a first-year head coach in Matt Patricia, and I think you're starting to see his fingerprints on defense, they're not going to roll over if they fall behind this game, because he's going to be the head coach next year there. So I would think that game was more winnable, but the Cardinals can take care of business if they can force some turnovers, get some touchdowns. It's a very winnable game on Sunday.
And Craig, you had mentioned the matchups. Are there any particular matchups that you're going to have your eye on to see how this team holds up, the Cardinals?
Well, there was only one wide receiver on the Detroit Lions, at least in my opinion, and that's Galladay. So if you just put Patrick Peterson on him, one-on-one, don't move Peterson around, you just shut down Galladay, and without Kerryon Johnson on the field, stop the run like the Cardinals did last week, you can make this Lions team not one-dimensional, half a dimension.
I'll say Damian Harrison, who they made the trade for from the Giants. He's been a Snacks. He's been a really good player. I mean, to me, you're probably going to have to double team him, so be curious to see how Mason Cole, the two guards, hold up there. Maybe having Barksdale can help with the experience when it comes to the line adjustments, but I just think their front seven, they kind of cover some of their blemishes in the secondary.
Next question. Speaking of the starters and some injuries and stuff, there's a question here, and I think this would maybe be more for later in the season, but how likely do you think it is that they kind of keep the starters in terms of, when do you think that they would potentially could you see them shelving players at all?
Okay, I love it. Who are you going to sit? I mean, everyone that is on the field, you have no one else to replace them with. You're playing all the young guys to begin with. It's not like you can rest anyone. And Josh Rosen, for one, I know people are concerned about him. He needs the reps.
Yeah, I mean, listen, these guys are fighting for their jobs. I mean, what you see right now is what you're going to get. They get another injury, next guy is next man up. So no, they're rolling out with 10 rookies and backups, and so what you see is what you're going to get, unless they have another injury, and they'll bring the next guy up the practice squad or sign someone.
Hey, you're not even eliminated from playoff contention yet, so there's never.
Exactly.
There you go.
The last question comes from Instagram. You mentioned Josh Rosen. What have you seen from him, and what do you think the future looks like with him? I know jury's not out on that yet. Obviously, he's a little early, but what are some of the things you've seen from him that you've liked moving forward with him in the future?
I just love his poise and the fact that the fourth quarter, home, road, and we talked about it earlier in the week, he's 4 times this season put his team in position to win. Now, he's only won half of those games, but that, no fault of his own, but just his ability, especially in the fourth quarter, to rally the troops, if you will, despite what might have happened in the first 3 quarters.
Yeah, according to Steve Kine this morning on 98.7, they're going to ride and die with Josh Rosen. I mean, yeah, he's going to have to make some progress, but poise, leadership, intangibles, smart, throws a good deep ball. I mean, there's a lot of things to like about Josh Rosen.
Gives great pregame speeches, too, which how many other rookies are out there giving those? So, final question today. We talked about My Cause, My Cleats. The Cardinals players will wear their causes on their cleats this weekend. Each of you, what would be your cause if you're having your own cleats?
We've got 2 charities that we kind of give a lot to, and that would be Big Brothers Big Sisters and St. Mary's Food Bank. So I don't know if you could split the cleat in half.
I've seen
guys could do that.
I think a player last year actually wore one cleat was one cause.
There you go. That's split the cleats. Well, yeah, one on left, one on right.
Obviously, something with cancer. My dad is 8 years removed from colon cancer, doing very well, so that's really big. And then I don't like mean people. I want to see more people nice to each other, kindness.
That'd be a good cause. I know David Johnson, I believe his first year, did anti-bullying as
I don't like mean people. Treat someone the way you want to be treated. Sounds simple.
As you know, some of you may
What
have
about
seen
you?
It. I actually I'm not wearing them today.
Okay, are you cold? You got this jacket on.
I am a little chilly. I'm a South Florida guy, so I gotta rock my jacket. But no, I actually had thanks to British, who made a lot of the players' cleats, and Adam in our community relations department actually had dress shoes made. There they are, right there. That I'll be wearing this weekend in honor of my high school. So it's the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas Eagles. So unfortunately, there was a tragic event in my high school last year where a lot of people passed away and were injured. And so I like the quote, "Be the change you wish to see in the world." And a lot of the teachers and families and students have fought really hard to create a change. And so I'm doing whatever I can to, I'm not down there to be able to support them, but I think it's kind of cool to do little things like this. So 2/14/18 is the date that it happened, MSD Strong. So trying to, show, hey, I'm really proud to be an alumni from the school, always have been, always will be. And, to all the people out there that have been struck by this unfortunate event, keep fighting. And I mean,
Very
the way
nice.
that they've showed resiliency in the face of adversity has been unbelievable. So keep
Very
going
nice.
for it, guys.
And I recommend you go to azcardinals.com. They have each player and their cause. There's pictures of cleats. They've done a really good job with this. And we'll get a chance to see if you're going to the stadium on Sunday. I know you released the jersey combo on Monday.
We could talk about that too.
How about this? We actually remembered this time. I didn't even put a note to ask about the uniform update, and you released it early.
Yeah, well, we do it on Friday, but sometimes if it's we typically wear red on white at home, and if we're not wearing red on white at home, sometimes you gotta get it out there early, build a little bit of hype, so we could put it out a couple times this week, not just on Friday. So as people have seen, we're going with black jerseys, white pants. Here's the video here. Great job by Jesse on this one. And big thanks to Hassan and David for participating in the video board crew for shooting as well. Black jerseys, white pants. I know some people have been saying, hey, well, how has the team played? Well, last time they wore them, last year against the Buccaneers, won 38-33. So, I mean, got a dub last time we wore them, so hopefully it brings us luck.
History is on our side.
At least recent history. The year before that.
But we don't.
But last year,
just go
we got
recent
the win
history.
with the one with the black jerseys, white pants. So we'll be wearing them, and the players will obviously have their different causes on their cleats.
All right, let's fast forward. Only one home game remaining. Red on red.
Putting them on
I
the
can't
spot
talk about
like
the
2 weeks
jersey
early.
Stuff.
Sworn to secrecy
Friday,
over there.
man. You'll find out the Friday before.
A lot of people like those uniforms.
The red on red, yeah, I think they're
And
cool.
it's perfect for the time of the year.
I like the white on red look. That one, Kansas City. I like that. I thought that was like a cool combo, but people way more important than me make those decisions, and I just come on.
You make the decision.
So if you have the alternate black jersey, you want to sync up with the players. Wear it to the game on Sunday.
Exactly.
Against the Lions.
Yeah. Wear those jerseys, those black jerseys with the the white. Not the same as the color rush. Those are a different black jersey.
Yes.
Wear those to the game on Sunday because the team will be rocking those.
Very well done, Brandon.
Thank you,
Appreciate it.
Brandon.
Excellent work on My Cause, My Cleats.
It was a great job by everyone involved. Really appreciate all the players and all our staff, working really hard on that.
And it's nice to see all the players participate.
Yeah, and then posted, and I think it's for them, to me, it's a no-brainer. Why wouldn't you participate?
Awareness.
This is exactly for stuff that's important to you, to have it on your feet, to talk about it all week. This is a great, that's a great way to use your platform as a player to get a message out about things important to you, because there are a lot of things that are important to a lot of people that we don't even realize. So
True.
Yeah. So on that note, we'll wrap up this Football Friday edition of Cards Cover 2. Special thanks to those behind the scenes: Tim Delaney, Jim Alejandro, Devin Henry, Jeremy Schnell, and of course our Cardinals manager of social media, Brandon Natus. For Mike Jarecki, I'm Craig Riolu. As we leave you here on this Friday, let's get you hyped. It is Week 14, Cardinals-Lions from State Farm Stadium.
Building blocks. They come in all sizes. Winning in a historic venue for the first time, in weather conditions you haven't conquered in more than 3 decades, huge. But look closer, and there were equally promising pieces of a growing foundation which emerged in Green Bay. 10 rookies saw the field, with one finding the end zone for the first and second time in his young career, while another once again led his team to a second-half comeback. Of course, some blocks have been a part of Arizona's football foundation for a long, long time. Can the team continue its growth against Detroit before the Red Sea? Lions, Cardinals, Game 13 of the 2018 season. Sunday.